as South Africa endeavours to secure its energy future, nuclear power is emerging as a compelling solution. However, the government's Section 34 determination to initiate the procurement process for 2,500 megawatts of new nuclear capacity has faced criticism from energy experts and environmentalists. For more on this conversation, we're now joined by Francesca de Gasparis, the Executive Director at Southern African Faith Communities Environment Institute. Francesca, thank you so much for your time and for joining us this evening. We certainly do appreciate it. Just in the interest of our viewers, what is SAFCEI's stance with regards to the inclusion of nuclear in South Africa's energy mix?
Thank you so much, and good evening to you and the listeners. Well, the nuclear energy situation has been quite contested for some time. The IRP 2019 said that we were going to look at preparing towards new nuclear at a pace and scale that is affordable. And now the IRP 2023 is saying that we are definitely going ahead with new nuclear. So the government hasn't been very consistent about what it believes it should do in terms of nuclear. And we believe that because of this and the way that that NERSA handled it, that it hasn't been done correctly.
But as an organization, do you believe that including nuclear within the country's energy mix is something that would work for the country or not?
Well, you know, we and EarthLife Africa took the government to court over the nuclear deal in 2017 because that deal was done incorrectly, and it was declared illegal and unconstitutional by the courts. So we're very concerned that if you're going to procure energy such as nuclear energy, that it's done in a way that complies with the laws in South Africa, and that it's done in a way that allows for proper consultation.
And now, once again, you are considering in taking the nuclear determination on judicial review. Kindly just expand on some of those reasons.
Well, as it says in our press release, NERSA firstly said that it wouldn't concur with the Section 34 determination, that it had suspensive conditions for that determination. And the reason it had suspensive conditions were related to the IRP 2019, that there was an issue there with the way that was being interpreted. And once the NERSA was satisfied that the government had fulfilled its suspensive conditions, it concurred. However, it did not afford us an opportunity to see what was done in order to do so. And we were not given the opportunity for further consultation, and we believe that that is incorrect.
And you also believe that there's not been meaningful engagement from government and transparency. Why do you think government has taken this stance?
Well, you'd have to ask government for that. You know that the IRP 2023 has been heavily criticized from all quarters. The way that the modeling has been done is not very transparent, and there's concerns about the way energy selection has been done. So if you look overall at our energy mix, what do we need to address? A few crises that we're facing. One is load shedding. Well, that needs energy now, and it needs to be done quickly. Nuclear certainly isn't going to be able to do that. That takes at least a decade, probably longer. It needs to be affordable. Affordability of energy is a huge issue in South Africa. Many people can't afford electricity now. So when you choose an extremely expensive energy system, then there's questions around that. Nuclear is one of the most expensive energy systems we could look at installing. When we look at issues like climate change and the issues that we're going to have with flooding and all kinds of concerns, nuclear energy has extremely toxic radioactive waste that no one around the world has ever solved the problem of how to store that safely. So there's all kinds of factors around nuclear which make it inappropriate as an energy system when we look into the future. Affordability, length of time it takes to install a nuclear power station. It certainly doesn't address the load shedding issues that we have now. and it certainly isn't going to be appropriate when we're dealing with serious climate change issues.
So what, in your opinion, would be the ideal energy strategy, especially for our country, in terms of balancing our economic growth, energy security, as well as environmental sustainability?
Well, that's one of the reasons why we took the government to court last year over one of its own legislations, the Integrated Energy Plan. The Integrated Energy Plan is meant to allow energy planning to look at things like our developmental needs, to look at things like centering around vulnerable communities' needs, look at things like load shedding, access to energy. And if you do that kind of modeling, our view is that you'll come up with an affordable energy system that addresses current crisis and looks into the future. So the IEP is absolutely essential for this process. And when you look at independent energy models, when you look at those who are obviously working on this from an academic and research perspective, they all say that renewable energy is the affordable, quick to install, accessible, and future globally. This isn't just for South Africa, but we are incredibly spoiled in this country with the amount of sun that we have and land. So it's kind of a no-brainer.
All right, Francesca, thank you so much for your time and for joining us this evening. That was Southern African Faith Communities Environmental Institute Executive Director, Francesca de Gasparis.